We now take you live
to the Central Texas Command Center
in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to the Alex Jones Show.
Okay, there was a reported shooting at UT this morning, and I found it very suspicious that a supposed lone gunman came in to the library, the student library, fired his rifle, and what was reported as an automatic rifle, which they'll call a semi-auto or even bolt action in the news, and then killed himself, and that he had someone with him. Now, I've seen so many cases where people are doing open carry in Vermont or Arizona or Wisconsin. We've got cases where the cops come over and arrest them and still charge them, even though there's no real law to charge them with. This is the type of garbage that is happening. And I had a feeling, because I know they've been having all these events all over the country, and there's a big student movement for open carry on college campuses so that you don't have mass shootings. Basically, gun-free zones are shooter zones. They're advertised as, you want a place to kill yourself and kill a bunch of other people? It's like the new form of suicide. Don't jump out of a 50-story building. Don't, slit your wrist. Don't shoot yourself in the head. Don't take sleeping pills. Take people with you. And the media hypes this. You had the gunman at the Discovery Channel a month ago or so. And so all these different permutations ran through my mind. And the way they locked it all down, pushed people back over a mile, claimed there might be another shooter with no evidence of it. It just had a lot of different red flags go up for me. It didn't pass the smell test. I'm basically calling shenanigans on this one. Very suspicious. And it could be a lone fruitcake, or it could have been somebody. I mean, how many times have you seen it come out in the news that the cops shoot an innocent person and then claim that they killed themselves or claim that they were a shooter? We've seen that a lot. It actually came out in the Rocky Mountain News and other newspapers that it came out in federal court that the SWAT team shot at least 2 of the people trying to get out of Columbine. But that's in a few newspapers and confirmed. I even had some of the families on years ago, going back a decade ago or more. It happened in '99. But whenever I mention that, people say, oh, you're making that up. They won't even go search the information. So this whole thing is suspicious, and then I get this piece of information. Student movement update, John Lott at UT Austin. This was from September 24, 2010, 4 days ago. On Tuesday, September 28th at 6 p.m., that's tonight, coming up in 5.5 hours, a coalition of student organizations of the University of Texas at Austin campus, including the Libertarian Longhorns and UT Students for Concealed Carry on Campus, and I want to get them on. So we're trying to contact them, but folks can email us here if you're listening and you're part of these groups. Show tips at Infowars.com. So again, on Tuesday, September 28th at 6 p.m., a coalition of student organizations at the University of Texas campus, including Libertarian Longhorns, the UT Students for Concealed Carry on Campus, the UT Objectivism Society, and the UT Federalist Society will be hosting John Lott, famed defender of gun rights and author of the book, More Guns, Less Crime. Lott's work is More Guns, Less Crime is commonly cited as the main liberty-minded people when arguing against gun control laws, and Lott will be sharing some of his expertise in this field to the audience of students and members of the community of Austin. And now if they go ahead with the event, which I think they should, the media will be there to try to demonize it. It'll be a national story you watch, but this will be a way to counter them. Austin has been a hotbed of debate over the political and the potential of state laws being passed that would make it legal for a person to carry a concealed handgun on college campuses. If you were in the Austin area on the 28th, stop by the UT Law School and hear John Lott discuss the negatives of gun control and the positives of a free society. So you can talk about whatever you want. I got a bunch of other really important cybersecurity news. This is coming to a head coming up. And Democrats to stuff 20 bills into post-election lame duck session. That's coming up in this hour. I may just go back to 4 hours every day. There's no way to cover all this. I did 4 hours yesterday. But how will I do a daily TV show, though, and then a weekly special broadcast show that's highly produced if I do that. It's just there's too much to cover. It's all happening right now. Something stinks. My gut is always right, and something is wrong here. And this comes out. And I'd said earlier, you know, is this a staged event to demonize the Second Amendment? But I was thinking to demonize the campus movement. What do you think about that? I know you'll be all over the map. It's wide open phones. That's fine. But let's go ahead and go to your calls. AJ in Texas. You're on the air, AJ.
Hey, how's it going, Alex?
Good. What do you think about this whole gun situation? Does that sound suspicious to you on the night that John Lott's set to call for the legislature, as some states are doing, to pass concealed or open carry on campuses? This happens?
Yeah, you know, that's par for the course for them. But what I'm calling about is I'm here in Austin, and I was listening to KLBJ AM, and you guys might want to try to get these tapes, but they had some pretty credible witnesses that were there on the scene at 21st Street, right by the six-pack, and what they were reporting was that there was a gunman there and that he opened fire there on 21st Street, not inside the building, not inside the library. And one of the callers said that he watched him and that he really didn't have control of his weapon. He never shouldered the weapon, but he was just holding it and just firing randomly. He never, squared up on anybody, but shots were fired outside the building, which we haven't heard in the mainstream yet. And one of the other ladies said that she was dropped off by her husband, and she was about 30 feet away from the guy as he was firing on 21st Street.
Well, we're going to contact Thomas McDonald, who we work with, because I'm carried and previously even did my Sunday show out of News Radio 590 KLBJ. They're great folks. We chose to move to these studios for television purposes. But we'll contact Thomas McDonald right now. I'll guarantee you he's got those audio clips of the witnesses saying there was a shooter firing on the street. And perhaps what I should do is, after I finish with these calls, clear the phone lines only for Austin witnesses, because if credible witnesses saw another shooter firing from a street corner, this has Black Op written all over it. I mean, and notice how this happened in the morning. We were always talking about these false flags, 7/7 London bombings, 9/11. It just goes on and on. These false flags are done in the morning to dominate the news cycle. So this is getting worse and worse. But you're saying, because I'd heard this, I talked to my wife this morning, and I talked to one of the neighbors when she was outside this morning leaving. She said, oh, I heard on local news radio, and that's probably 590, that there were shooters outside, and they sounded... So these callers said they witnessed this, or they heard this was happening?
They said they were right there. Yep. They were all saying that they were right there. There was a cab driver for a yellow cab that said he was dropping off his fare right there by the six-pack, and that he heard the shots ring out and saw the guy shooting and sped, down 21st Street towards Speedway and towards the stadium, and we're telling people not to go that way, and he made his 911 calls and stuff from there, and they were saying that they got that call at KLBJ AM at like 8:10 in the morning. So it was as it was happening, and this guy's already on the radio.
Well, just like with the Oklahoma City bombing, the live tapes, they're removing the bombs. The governor comes on. We found 3 more bombs. And then not only did they not deny it, they just never talked about it again. They didn't go back and say we were wrong. They just said we don't want to discuss it. That's why those first tapes were so important. So you're saying these calls were made at about 8:10, 8:15 to 5:90 a.m.?
That's exactly right. And the other thing is, I heard a caller later on, that was talking about the cameras inside the library. We should just make the call right now that, they should be showing us those tapes. We need to see this guy coming in the building with the gun, and, if there's all these other stories about shooters on the streets, that the camera inside the building.
There are business cameras, state cameras, UT cameras, private cameras, cell phone cameras. There are cameras by the thousands down there, and that's another good point. If we don't see tapes forthcoming within hours, notice the police will do that sometimes, but sometimes they suppress them. If they suppress them, this goes from code orange to being a staged event, where it is now to code red. Great points from you, AJ. Anything else?
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say, you know, that they got to keep doing this. We're getting close. We're kicking their butts. I think we're going to take them down, and I don't think it's going to be that much farther down the road.
Well, even if this was a real shooter, that's the reason to have concealed carry on campuses, so people have a right to defend themselves.
That is exactly right. And in this state, you know, we should all be carrying anyway.
I appreciate your call. Let's go to Michael in Texas and see what he has to say. Michael, are you calling in about this?
Jones?
Go ahead, Michael.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Hey.
I sent off 10 terabytes of information to your studio. I wonder if you got it.
Yeah, I don't know what the information is. You'll have to tell me. What is it?
It's new 9/11 evidence, the Rockefellers, Obama, Bush.
Oh, okay. When did you send it?
It was about a month ago. I sent off a couple copies.
Well, we try to wade through it all, so keep it coming, but I'm specifically not aware of what you're talking about.
I got a website up called The Investigations 2012, and it documents evidence into 9/11, George Bush, the Rockefellers, energy technology, and so on. I was wondering if you heard about that.
No, but I heard about some of it. I'll look into it, Michael. I appreciate your call. We're going to go to break here in a moment. We'll come back with Michael in Florida and Rena and Wilson. But I want to be specific. After that, I'm going to leave the phones open for eyewitnesses at UT. Why didn't I think of that? That's a good idea that AJ had from Texas. So we'll take those 3 calls quickly in the next segment. Then I'll open the phones up for eyewitnesses only. 1-800-259-9231. 1-800-259-9231. We'll be right back. Stay with us.